This video is going to be a film study look at Kyle Hamilton and his performance in the Ravens' Week 11 win over the Bengals. But to be honest with you, it's going to be a reflection on how incredible his year has been in 2023. If you ask me, the accumulation of plays he's made is quite amazing. If you ask me, through 11 weeks, and the location. I wish there was like a hit chart for defensive players, like there is for run plays and quarterbacks, like the next gen stat stuff, where we could see the hot spots for Kyle Hamilton. I think there wouldn't be a hot spot. I think it'd be all over the field. On a team with a ton of freak athletes, Lamar Jackson, Owe, Zay Flowers, Kyle Hamilton is consistently looking like an absolute unicorn. He's 22 years old, 6'4". They list him at 225. He looks more like 235 to me. 56 tackles so far, 3 sacks, which all came in one game, 2 interceptions, one of which he took to the house, 8 passes defensed, 1 forced fumble. Like I said, a ridiculous hit chart for where he's being deployed, but also where he's making plays, where he's making tackles, where he's deflecting passes. We're going to show you some film of him in Week 11 against the Bengals, and then I'm going to try to summarize some of the ways he's being used and where he impacts the game. So we'll start with this first one. He matches up with Jamar Chase in trips. Hamilton is as a too-high safety here. It's just brilliant closing speed. One-cut routes do not normally beat him. This is a one-cut route. It's second and long. It doesn't mean like, oh, he shut down Jamar Chase or that's what he's going to do every time they play, but one-cut routes do not give Kyle Hamilton trouble. Where I've seen him have trouble in the past, or at least his rookie season, was when there would be like a double move. And not a double move deep, but like a China in or whip route, if people want to call it that. Boyd beat him on like a crossover slant last year down near the end zone. But these type of routes he's never had trouble with. And if our D-line's going to continue to get pressure, then that fits perfectly with Kyle Hamilton, because the closing speed, the length, and the range generally mean these routes are not going to be available. He's going to close down on them. Same play, end zone angle, by the way. He's going to close down on them in such a way that the window's just going to be too daggone small for the quarterback to get it there. And in this case, perfect timing. His arrival is right as the ball gets there. I thought it was caught in live time, but this is just typical for Kyle Hamilton. Use as a blitzer. We'll cover it again in a segment here later on. Incomplete pass down the bottom side of the screen. Chase is out. Darby is in at corner. Nice job defending down the field by him. But watch Hamilton swim Joe Mixon. Very similar to how he swam a guard for the Browns last year to get a sack, or a quarterback hit, I guess I should say. The film, where he's being played, how he's being used is pretty amazing. The same guy who covered Jamar Chase, the same guy who just swam Joe Mixon, who's a tough dude, is now going to be the Mike linebacker in a Tampa 2, which is basically what this is. I'll let it flow through one more time. Ridiculously versatile. I think it's borderline unfair to have one guy who can do all of these things. Tampa 2, there's your high safeties. High safety, hook player, queen, hook player, Roquan Smith, and then this is Hamilton, almost skipping to match number 3 vertical. Look at the agility to stop on a dime. The ball's been delivered. If he's a half a step, if it requires one more half a step by him to stop, because it could be a vertical by Boyd, then this is going to be a completed pass. He's actually there a little bit early, perhaps, but it's a great challenge, and I think just illustrates those 3 plays. All the play from the Week 11 game, to me, illustrates how versatile he is. And like I said, I think he's there a little bit early. He gets involved in the run game as well. I don't think at this point you can say he's an all-pro. I think he's all-world. I think he can do everything extremely well. On different teams, he would be serving a different role. Hamilton's down here at the bottom side of the screen. Same play, end zone angle. On different teams, he would serve a different role, and I think that's what makes this Ravens team so unique. We've dealt with injuries to Marcus Williams again. Geno Stone has come in and played fantastic. Kyle Hamilton can move around wherever we need him to be. You can see he gets downhill immediately. The range and the burst. He will show up places where you don't expect him to be as a defense, if you ask me. He's just got a different kind of burst. It's one of those situations. I remember seeing this live in the broadcast. I mean, who was that came out of nowhere? You ever see those commercials where everyone's moving fast, but the main character in the commercial, whoever they're focusing on, is moving slow. I'm thinking of like a Matthew McConaughey commercial where he's talking and everyone's moving fast around him. This is like the opposite. When this ball gets tipped, it's like everyone else is moving slow, trying to figure out where's the ball, what do I do? And Kyle Hamilton is a blur, like just a different speed. When he comes downhill, I'm not saying that he's not going to be a great middle of the field free safety, too high safety at some point in his career, but everything about him right now that's great is moving side to side or coming downhill. This is the pick six against the Browns, first play of the game. His range, I think, his range is vertical and both horizontal. When you're throwing the ball near him, he's got great horizontal range, as you saw in the first play that he defended Jamar Chase very well. And then the vertical range to get up here. I don't know what he's like on the basketball court. I understand his father played professional basketball for a number of years. I think he's probably either a baller or someone who just can't play at all. My guess is he's probably a baller. End zone angle, same play. Ravens are very blessed to get him. Shout out to one of the guys in the Discord, one of my patrons, Frank. When we do a live stream, or we do a voice chat, I guess I should say, when every draft night. Every night of the draft, we've done it for 2 years. And the moment the Ravens drafted Kyle Hamilton, he raved for about 10 minutes about everything that Kyle Hamilton could do. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, okay, I know he's a real good player. I had the film, and I checked it out, and I listened to Frank for like 10 minutes, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know, he might be going a little overboard here. No, everything he said's come true. Every single thing that was said about Kyle Hamilton by the people who believed in him has come true. Great out in space as a nickel defender. Shut down, in fact, if you ask me. We saw this last year against screens. The angle that he takes here to beat this tight end is exquisite. If you've ever played strong safety or nickel or whatever you want to call it, it's all about timing and being in the right spot. So you got to be in the right spot at the right time. And Kyle Hamilton has a unique ability, if you ask me, to be in the right spot, the force player, outside of the blocker right now. But if he's a moment earlier or a moment later, the possibility exists that this receiver, I think it's Pittman, could take this inside. He's also on the right side. If he ends up inside, then of course Pittman's going to bounce it to the outside. He's just got great timing. I would say it's instincts, but I think it's more than that. I think it's reads and being prepared by his coaches. And he makes more than just splash plays, if you ask me. But however, in this Colts game, he clearly made 3 splash plays, I guess almost 4. 3 sacks against the Browns, or 3 sacks against the Colts, a pick 6 against the Browns. Forced fumble here that really could have changed the game. He's a game-changing talent. And we've already seen in year 2, 11 games into the season, I think he's playing at an incredibly high level. This is a too high safety look against the Texans week 1. This is an amazing job of getting in the window of C.J. Stroud. Force Stroud to get out in space and take a hit. I don't think I've seen this concept defended this well by a safety in the NFL in at least the 3 years that I have tried to cover and evaluate the game. When I say this concept, I mean run action to one side, over concept from the opposite side. Maybe you get the tight end chipping and releasing out into the flats. Typically, you're talking about a clear out route down here to the bottom side. I don't think I've seen a safety defend it this well and be in almost 2 places at once. I think Stroud ended up with like a 3-yard gain. It's just a brilliant, I think, example of his awareness and his fluidity of movement. I'm talking about when he puts his foot in the ground and baseball turns back to get under the receiver right now and stay in phase underneath of the guy. He's not playing man. Stevens is playing man from the other side. I think it's a brilliant example of how Kyle Hamilton can have an impact even when there's no statistical designation for him on that particular play. He doesn't stand around and watch when he's playing too high safety either. Again, Texans week 1. Some guys will, especially on a 3rd and long. They'll just let the play finish. Hamilton's not one of those guys. He would not, coming from Notre Dame and the way you hear him talk, he sounds very intelligent and educated. He's not scared or worried about getting down and getting dirty. To me, he's everything that we would want in a safety and more, and he's a guy that we probably need to be a little bit, at times, more versatile with. And make the offense, worry about where he is. The film from 2023, I think, includes him playing all over the field. And when he blitzes against the run, it's damn near like having 2 extra players. In this situation against the Seahawks, tackle at the line of scrimmage, he can single-handedly take concepts away I would like to see him be moved around a little bit more. That may sound crazy. I feel like in the last 2 weeks, we've had teams attack us to the boundary almost exclusively, and I would like to see Kyle Hamilton used there occasionally to at least throw play callers off, make the quarterback have to audible. Oh, we were going to run this particular concept to the boundary. Now Kyle Hamilton is over there, and for whatever reason we don't think we can. He's a great run fitter as well. It's a 3rd and 1 against the Colts. Zach Moss converts this, gets the first down, but Kyle Hamilton's a guy that makes first contact. I couldn't find the end zone angle of this one, but it's a great fit. Roquan comes downhill, and I think it's the right guard, pushes him out of there. So look at the wall that's developed here. Hamilton, and I don't have the end zone angle for whatever reason. Like I said, I couldn't find it. Fits it perfectly inside this lane, right where the running back is going to fit it. Essentially, he's playing running back, except his job is to meet the back there, meet the ball carrier there. He's reading the hole and fills it. He's a great football player. We've been really blessed to be able to grab him at pick 14. Already talked about how he shuts down screens, but here's another example of it. Against the Colts. He's been doing this since his rookie year, clearly. There's just certain guys that can't physically block him, and Michael Pittman is one of them. Pittman's a big, strong dude, too, but he doesn't look like it when they're chest to chest here with Hamilton, and Hamilton doesn't take it on with great technique in this situation. He just overwhelms him with physicality. He started doing that last year against the Panthers, and we all kind of opened our eyes. We can shut down screens suddenly, whereas I thought, especially last year up to week 4 against the Bills, the Ravens had a lot of trouble shutting down screens, and here's evidence of it. He's so good at it, I think sometimes quarterbacks decide to go to the other side. This is a screen from Thursday night against the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow recognizes that Kyle Hamilton's over there. I'm not going to throw the screen over there because he's so damn good at it. Perhaps that's not the case. Perhaps it was designed to go up there to the top side. It is the boundary. But that's part of the reason why you put Kyle Hamilton in multiple locations. And a guy like Joe Burrow, they're going to get to the line of scrimmage with a lot of time left on the play clock, so he'll be able to check in and out of things. I'd like to see us move Hamilton around a little more and not be so predictable with setting him to the field all the time that teams can make their play calls away from him. Unbelievable play by Brent Urban, just so you know. Gets through. Obviously, he recognizes, there's a screen here. There's no way I should be let go this soon. He's a really underrated football player. I'm not sure why Queen took the angle that he did. And then it's borderline unfair, like I mentioned earlier, that all of the coverage skills, the tackling ability in space, the ability to play against the run, almost be like a force multiplier, the size and speed and range. And it's borderline unfair that then we can put him out there as a blitzer with his unique blend of burst and closing speed. This is another one, I think, where he just looks like he's playing at a different speed than everyone else. Of course, he's unblocked. But when you watch the film, it's consistently Kyle Hamilton, the guy who looks like he's sped up. He looks like he's at like 1.25x speed. You guys let me know if you think that sounds like an exaggeration. And now that we have Geno Stone and Marcus Williams, and Marcus Williams I thought looked really good against the Bengals compared to 4 days earlier. To me, it looks like a situation where we can have those three on the field often or almost all the time, particularly in pass situations. Help out our linebackers in coverage. I think we didn't realize how good we had it when we had Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton on the field late in last season together, and Chuck Clark, who played well last year. Now that we've got Stone, Williams, and Hamilton to potentially deploy together, hopefully for a while, I think, as crazy as it sounds, we could be even better against the pass than we have been earlier in the year. That's clearly sounds unusual to hear coming from me because I've been quite critical of our defense starting with the Arizona game. I did not think that we played well against Arizona in the fourth quarter at all, particularly against the run. I think the Browns and the Bengals both have kind of taken advantage of us in the 11 personnel run game. I did a video about that. I'll try to link it up here in the description. Let you guys check it out if you wish. How AFC North teams may have, I don't want to say figured out some things in terms of our defense, but have figured out a way to attack us with more efficiency. Let's put it that way. In my opinion, Kyle Hamilton is part of the solution. Moving him around, having his alignment be less predictable, and I do wonder if sometimes that means having an extra DB on the field and maybe one less linebacker or one less interior lineman. So yes, I'm talking about like a dime situation in some passing moments. I think that might be something the Ravens should look at times and having Kyle Hamilton be a guy who kind of fills gaps everywhere. Appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of Kyle Hamilton's season, first of all, how I picked the plays to package them together and organize for you guys, and then what you thought of his play on Thursday Night Football. I don't think, he didn't have a sack, didn't have an interception or anything like that, but he makes plays, as I mentioned, from that Week 1 play against the Texans. I think he makes plays sometimes that don't get a statistical designation and still influence the play and allow other guys to finish things up and get some type of statistical designation. And nonetheless, he still has 50-plus tackles in 11 games, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions. Very unique package in terms of the stats and in terms of the body size and range and burst. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Kyle Hamilton, please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it on social media to help this content get more reach.